So I'm Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks, and
And
this,
I'm Sweet Baby James, otherwise known as James Maynard.
and hopefully we are actually, going out there. So tonight I want to talk about what sometimes makes us go weak, or why do we sometimes feel or act weaker than we are? And I really want to know the answer to this question. I hope you do too. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that came up for us today. Oh, so what is this show anyway? This is Granny Rocks Our World, otherwise known as Grow. And we air every Monday and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And it's our opportunity to experience Granny's wit, wisdom, and uncommon sense. So, Granny, take it away.
okay, so it looks like we're running into a problem. Oh, you finally got on my page, but there's nothing live. Well, we are looking for your comments right now. So we've got three browsers going on at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Here we go. And let's see if we can get those comments showing. We sure are interested in what you have to say. So hopefully this is going to work. Okay, so why don't we close your page because mine is open at least. Oh, you've got it
I've
too.
got it live, baby.
Okay, now I can get. I hate this. Every time we do a show, we babble for the first couple of minutes. It's not our fault, really. So anyway,
It's the Gremlins.
let you already introduced us? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So sometimes we see ourselves behaving really powerfully, and we just love it. We love ourselves, and everybody sees it, and they're all cheering us on. And then the next morning, we wake up and we just lost it. We're like, who was that? Ah, nah, that was somebody else. That wasn't me. So or let's say, you've got the father, and you happen to be the father, and you know what's the right thing to do for your daughter, but she goes to you and says, "Daddy, can I have a Ferrari, please?" Or is it okay if you just, your knees get weak and it's all over. Okay, so you have the power, but you ain't using it, dude, right?
Yeah, see that. I've been there,
So,
done that.
okay, so we don't have any,
It's not even.
no, that's not the right show.
No, it says live, but that's not the right show.
But you're wearing the right clothes. So let's just go on and see, James, if you can find the comments. Anyway,
Sure.
first, I want to call this like the Samson and Delilah syndrome, right? How many times have we seen the movie where Samson is this big hulky guy and Delilah comes in and she's just like so enticing and he's being seduced? But that isn't the only situation in which we lose our power. So, what can power look like? Okay, one thing it can look like is money, financial power. So let's say we take our money and we decide to invest it in ourselves instead of something that other people think we should do. Or please put in a comment and let's see, by the way, if it's working because we haven't been able to get the comments yet. So it can look like, or we can be investing our money in something we believe in rather than something that people think we should do. Okay. Power can look physical. Like, you're physically stronger than somebody else. So you're working out in some way and you're using your bodies and you're using your bodies to reflect your will. I am taking this action. I am going to lift this, right? This is power. Guys, I'm using the power.
Muscle power.
Muscle power. No kidding. This is power. We still have 0 comments. I don't believe it. So, another kind of power we can have is emotional power. For example, we could be standing up to bullying. We could be saying what we really believe. We could not collapse in a pile of tears when we run into obstacles or we feel overwhelmed. That's kind of more powerful than collapsing into those pile of tears, right? So I'm not saying that we should never cry. That's really not my point. So there it is. Power can also look like energy, right? You know, as in you're pursuing something you really want to do, and you're not caving in when there are obstacles. That's power. That is the use of your energy. Now, what I want to talk about tonight is why and how we undermine our own power. Do any of you relate to this?
I do.
Yeah.
Happened today.
It did.
It did. We were witnesses to this.
We were. We were also the victims of it. So, okay. I'm going to try to open Facebook, James, so I can see if there are any comments. So, one reason that we will try to undermine our own power is that we love somebody and we don't want them to be hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Let's turn this off because it's not working anyway. So, in a situation like that, you say, oh, I don't want to do this because, oh, there's 8 comments already. Okay, Erica, I'm here briefly, but I have to leave and we'll finish listening later. Wonderful. So glad you came. Elizabeth said we can hear you.
Yeah.
Elizabeth said hello. Luann waved. Thank you so much. That's not 8, but whatever. It's better than nothing. So at least we're seeing the darn
Thank
comments.
you.
Oh, is there never an end to this craziness with Facebook?
You got it going.
Okay. So, we're trying to protect somebody. We don't want them to feel bad. We don't want them to feel bad about themselves. Whatever, right? Love. Again. Fear that we're going to lose somebody's love. And by the way, that isn't the right title on that screen.
But we had the right screen, so
We
should keep going.
I'm going to keep going. This is about what makes somebody go weak, not about what,
Confusion.
do we really want to do what works. Okay. Another reason that we may undermine our power, in addition to the ones that I've already mentioned, is we're wanting something from someone who feels threatened by our strength. So we pretend we don't have it.
Ooh, yeah.
Like what do we want? We may want affection. We may want connection.
To please the boss.
To please somebody. Exactly. So we want something from somebody and they're threatened by our strength, so we act like we don't have any so that they'll give it to us, whatever it is that they're going to give us. Another thing that makes us undermine our own power is the fear of punishment or retribution by someone who has power over us. Right? Like, I don't want my boss to realize that I have more power than she thinks I should have, because she's going to like it. She's going to feel threatened. Maybe she's afraid that I'm going to want her job. Or I'm in a relationship with somebody who wants me to feel weak so that I am clingy and dependent on them so that they don't feel like, they have nothing to offer, and so they have to keep giving something to us. In fact, we may have a fear of showing someone, a partner, a boss, anybody, of showing them that we have strength because they might not protect us anymore. Supposing I'm used to Daddy protecting me all the time, but now I'm a grown-up, well, maybe he isn't going to protect me anymore, right?
Right.
Maybe my boss is not going to expect me to function when I get to work. Right? Any one of these things. So,
I have another one.
Go ahead.
Parent-child relationship. When I was growing up, I had to let my father believe he was always going to win.
Yes.
That he was better, stronger, better in every way. And if I defeated him in some way, then that would lose his bond with me. because that would destroy what he felt he needed for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
In
And
fact,
so I made myself go weak or submissive or whatever so as not to cause him to get hostile and angry toward me.
right, and then maybe punish you in some way or take something away from you that you have valued. So I want you to, guys, to be thinking about this, about how this might apply to you. And see, this is typically what you do with your ego, James. You know, your ego raises its head and you say, okay, sure, it's, you got it. You
I'll
understand
go
what I
along with
mean?
my ego.
I'm going to go along with my ego because
That's what works. We live in an ego-driven world. I'm
That's
going
right.
to go along with the other egos.
Right. Okay. So I don't know if I'm making this better or worse. Okay. So it could be a boss, as we were talking about. It could be a sibling who doesn't want you to get more powerful and who isn't going to protect you anymore. It's like, oh, if I start showing my sibling that I'm growing up and that I'm getting more powerful, then maybe he isn't going to walk around putting his arms around me. So there it is. It could be an opponent. Oh my God, don't want my opponent to think that I'm strong, because that opponent might come after me and punch me in the face, or try to get rid of me or do something like that. Right?
Yeah.
And it could be a mate, or it could be a lot of other people.
Yep.
So another reason we might undermine ourselves and not stand up is that we're uncertain about what we're saying. And maybe we're uncertain because we don't know what we're talking about. Maybe we haven't bothered to think something through.
Right.
Right? This happens. We do that.
Happens to me a lot.
Right. And so we know deep down inside we're, full of you-know-what. And so we really don't have anything to say, and we shouldn't. So, so we kind of like weaken our assertions, but we don't want to admit that we just don't know what we're talking about. So another reason we could be undermining our own power is that we have the habit of self-doubt. Now, maybe our parents told me that I was always wrong, and I just came to believe that, and I built a whole persona and everything else on that idea. Well, then what happens when, I move forward in life? It may very well happen that I don't believe in myself. So now I wanted to talk about, I hope there are more. Hey guys, can somebody comment just to make sure that the comments are coming through and that in fact we are still streaming? It does look like we're still streaming, even if it's under the wrong name.
It's under the right name now. This is the right screen.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's take a look at the bottom line of this. Let's look at the physical issue of being undermined. We all know what it's like to be physically weak because we've all been young, and as a young person we don't have quite the strength, let's say, that an adult has. We've all had the experience of being sick. Even, pretty much everybody knows what the flu feels like. All of a sudden you wake up and it's like, there's nobody home, right? We've been at times maybe out of shape and we don't have any strength because we haven't been building our strength.
I experienced that recently, where I hadn't been working out and I was weaker.
That's right.
And I had a harder time.
And we have experienced that physical weakness because we're fearful. It just like makes our legs wobbly. Have you ever like really felt like, oh, the strength is drained out of you? But also, even still on the physical plane, we can be afraid. We can be afraid of causing ourselves pain. Let's say we have a bad joint and that joint hurts and we're afraid to use the joint because it might hurt us more. Okay? So I think we can all relate to what it feels like. the same thing happens to us emotionally and spiritually, but we don't recognize that that's what's happening. You see, we just think we are weak. We forget that we felt different yesterday, or we don't believe that we could feel different tomorrow. We've gotten that in our heads. So we're not even looking at it. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So what is the equivalent of fear, for example, causing us to be afraid to use our strength because it might cause us pain? Just like I was talking about if I use that joint. Oh my goodness, there's 18 comments, see, and they are not coming across. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go. Yes, I see that. Now, there's a couple more that are showing up. Elizabeth said, I'm relating a lot to what you're saying. Oh, Todd said, I had some trouble getting on. He is here. And Helen says, hi. And none of the rest of these comments is even showing up. Lovely. But we are going on, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to be stopped. So, okay. Oh my God. So if you can identify that feeling of weakness and recognize that it isn't always who you are and the way you are. It may be just like when you have the flu or when you get scared or something is bothering you. See, that could be happening. So we need to be aware of those possibilities and stop just assuming. So let's look at the equivalent of our fear of using a joint because it may cause us pain. Let's say we continue to gain in inner strength. We are going to continue to use that strength. Maybe using that strength will hurt by breaking up a relationship, causing us a loss of regard, money, position, or love. You know, I want to make a comment about the world that we're living in right now. There are people in positions of power who are not using their power to hold our leadership accountable. Some are, but a lot are not. Well, that's because they're afraid of the consequences of doing this, right? And they will rationalize to themselves why they're doing it. They're going to say, oh, that isn't a problem, that isn't a problem, that isn't a problem, that isn't a problem, but it is a problem. They know darn well it's a problem, but they aren't going to use their strength. They could do something, but they don't use their strength. Well, we have done the same thing. You know, a mother who doesn't stand up to a father, or vice versa, who is injuring, beating, molesting a child, that a parent is not using their strength. They have it, but they won't use it. Even a sister or brother could call Child Protective Services. I'm not saying it's the ideal solution, but you understand what I am saying. There's a lot of people who are afraid to pay the price of using their strength. And guess what? They don't even know they have it. It gets to be so habitual that we don't even realize that we have strength that we're not using. I would like to apologize for the fact that I am not responding to comments because I'm not seeing them. We didn't see them on James' computer. We're not seeing them on my computer. I do not know what's going on.
Seems to be a Facebook problem.
But we're going forward anyway because we have the strength to go on and we're going to speak.
Right.
So now I had wanted to include you. I wanted to ask you, but if we're not going to get any answers tonight, where are you not using your strength? And after the show, I'll go back on Facebook, and if the darn thing opens, I'm going to do my best to answer any comments that come along. Where are you not using your strength? And why? Now, what can we do about it? We can face it. We can face the fact that we are not as we. I did it today. I just fell apart emotionally and spiritually and energetically, and I didn't even realize that it was related to sweet baby James being dominated by his ego. Like I had strength yesterday, where was it today? Right? I want to face it. I want to get support around it. I want to recognize that I'm not the only one, which you should be recognizing here just by listening to me talking tonight, that a lot of people do it. I need to feel the fear and do it anyway. Look at the bribery, the goo goo gaga is like the seductions and all the manipulations. Look at all of that and do the right thing anyway by just being honest with myself and recognize, guys, that there's a lot of energies out there that don't want the status quo to change. But the status quo often needs to change. And if we face that, then we will start mobilizing our own inner strength in order to do the things that we need to do, in order to effectuate the changes that we need to effectuate, in order to stand up to the bully or to ourselves or to the seducer.
Yeah.
And face all of that. And then we will discover that we have strength and we will love ourselves for it. So I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with Facebook tonight, but we are here and we've done what we could. And we are back every Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah, 6:30 p.m. Pacific.
And
we've had a lot of food for thought tonight, so make your comments and
right.
Beth will respond.
I will respond as soon as it shows up. And on Thursdays, I play the piano. Dreams of Peace. I improvise music for everyone at 7 p.m. on Thursday. And because playing the piano makes me strong, and I hope it makes you strong too.
Yeah.
So I love you, and I missed the connection tonight. But thank you for being there. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And
take care.